The Monna Lisa Gioconda or Monna Lisa Gioconda is a half-length portrait painting by Italian artist Leonardo da Vinci. Considered an archetypal masterpiece of the Italian Renaissance, it has been described as the best known, the most visited, the most written about, the most sung about, the most parodied work of art in the world. The painting's novel qualities include the subject's enigmatic expression, the monumentality of the composition, the subtle modeling of forms, and the atmospheric illusionism. The title of the painting, which is known in English as Monna Lisa, comes from a description by Renaissance art historian Giorgio Vasari, who wrote Leonardo undertook to paint, for Francesca del Giocondo, the portrait of Monna Lisa, his wife. Monna in Italian is a polite form of address, originating as Madonna, similar to ma'am, madam, or my lady in English. This became Madonna, and its contraction Monna. The title of the painting, though traditionally spelled Monna, is also commonly spelled in modern Italian as Monna Lisa, but this is rare in English. Citation needed. Vasari's account of the Monna Lisa comes from his biography of Leonardo published in 1550, 31 years after the artist's death. It has long been the best-known source of information on the provenance of the work and identity of the sitter. Leonardo's assistant Salai, at his death in 1524, owned a portrait which in his personal papers was named La Gioconda, a painting bequeathed to him by Leonardo. That Leonardo painted such a work, and its date, were confirmed in 2005 when a scholar at Heidelberg University discovered a marginal note in a 1477 printing of a volume by ancient Roman philosopher Cicero. Dated October 1503, the note was written by Leonardo's contemporary Agostino Vespasi. This note likens Leonardo to renowned Greek painter Apelles, who is mentioned in the text, and states that Leonardo was at that time working on a painting of Lisa del Giocondo. In response to the announcement of their discovery of this document, Vincent degli Uvin, the Louvre representative, stated Leonardo da Vinci was painting, in 1503, the portrait of a Florentine lady by the name of Lisa del Giocondo. About this we are now certain. Unfortunately, we cannot be absolutely certain that this portrait of Lisa del Giocondo is the painting of the Louvre. The model, Lisa del Giocondo, was a member of their Gradini family of Florence and Tuscany, and the wife of wealthy Florentine silk merchant Francesco del Giocondo. The painting is thought to have been commissioned for their new home, and to celebrate the birth of their second son, Andrea. The Italian name for the painting, La Gioconda, means jocund, happy or jovial, or, literally, the jocund one, a pun on the feminine form of Lisa's married name, Giocondo. In French, the title La Joconde has the same meaning. Before that discovery, scholars had developed several alternative views as to the subject of the painting. Some argued that Lisa del Giocondo was the subject of a different portrait, identifying at least 4 other paintings as the Monna Lisa referred to by Vasari. Several other women have been proposed as the subject of the painting. 23. Isabella of Aragon. Cecilia Gallerani. 25. Costanza d'Avalos, Duchess of Francavilla. Isabella d'Este Pacifica Brandano or Brandino, Isabella Gualanda, Caterina Sforza, Bianca Giovanna Sforza, even Salai and Leonardo himself, are all among the list of posited models portrayed in the painting. The consensus of art historians in the 21st century maintains the long-held traditional opinion that the painting depicts Lisa del Giocondo. The Monna Lisa is the only portrait whose authenticity has never been seriously questioned, and one of 4 works, the others being Saint Jerome in the Wilderness, Adoration of the Magi and The Last Supper, whose attribution has avoided controversy. He had begun working on a portrait of Lisa del Giocondo, the model of the Monna Lisa. By October 1503, it is believed by some that the Mona Lisa was begun in 1503 or 1504 in Florence, although the Louvre states that it was doubtless painted between 1503 and 1506. Art historian Martin Kemp says that there are some difficulties in confirming the dates with certainty. Alessandro Vezzosi believes that the painting is characteristic of Leonardo's style in the final years of his life. Post 1513. Other academics argue that, given the historical documentation, Leonardo would have painted the work from 1513 according to Vasari. After he had lingered over it 4 years, he left it unfinished in 1516. Leonardo was invited by King Francis I to work at the Clos Luce near the Château d'Amboise. It is believed that he took the Mona Lisa with him and continued to work on it after he moved to France. Art historian Carmen C. Bambach has concluded that Leonardo probably continued refining the work until 1516 or 1517. Leonardo's right hand was paralytic circa 1517, which may indicate why he left the Mona Lisa unfinished. Circa 1505, Raphael executed a pen and ink sketch, in which the columns flanking the subject are more apparent. Experts universally agree that it is based on Leonardo's portrait. Other later copies of the Mona Lisa, such as those in the National Museum of Art, Architecture and Design and the Walters Art Museum, also display large flanking columns. As a result, it was thought that the Mona Lisa had been trimmed. However, by 1993, Frank Zollner observed that the painting surface had never been trimmed. This was confirmed through a series of tests in 2004. In view of this, Vincent delle Uvine, curator of 16th century Italian painting at the Louvre, states that the sketch and these other copies must have been inspired by another version, while Zollner states that the sketch may be after another Leonardo portrait of the same subject. The record of an October 1517 visit by Louis d'Aragon states that the Mona Lisa was executed for the deceased Giuliano de' Medici, Leonardo's steward at the Belvedere Palace between 1513 and 1516, but this was likely an error. According to Vasari, the painting was created for the model's husband, Francesco del Giocondo. A number of experts have argued that Leonardo made two versions, because of the uncertainty concerning its dating and commissioner, as well as its fate following Leonardo's death in 1519, and the difference of details in Raphael's sketch. The hypothetical first portrait, displaying prominent columns, would have been commissioned by Giocondo circa 1503, and left unfinished in Leonardo's pupil and assistant Salai's possession until his death in 1524. The second, commissioned by Giuliano de' Medici circa 1513, would have been sold by Salai to Francis I in 1518 and is the one in the Louvre today. Others believe that there was only one true Mona Lisa, but are divided as to the two aforementioned fates. At some point in the 16th century, a varnish was applied to the painting. It was kept at the Palace of Fontainebleau until Louis XIV moved it to the Palace of Versailles, where it remained until the French Revolution in 1797. It went on permanent display at the Louvre. Refuge, theft and vandalism. After the French Revolution, the painting was moved to the Louvre, but spent a brief period in the bedroom of Napoleon, d. 1821, in the Tuileries Palace. The Mona Lisa was not widely known outside the art world, but in the 1860s, a portion of the French intelligentsia began to hail it as a masterwork of Renaissance painting during the Franco-Prussian War, 1870–1871. The painting was moved from their Louvre to the Brest Arsenal in 1911. The painting was still not popular among the lay public on the 21st of August 1911. The painting was stolen from the Louvre. The painting was first missed the next day by painter Louis Beraud. After some confusion as to whether the painting was being photographed somewhere, the Louvre was closed for a week for investigation. French poet Guillaume Apollinaire came under suspicion and was arrested and imprisoned. Apollinaire implicated his friend Pablo Picasso, who was brought in for questioning. Both were later exonerated. The real culprit was Louvre employee Vincenzo Peruggia, who had helped construct the painting's glass case. He carried out the theft by entering the building during regular hours, hiding in a broom closet, and walking out with the painting hidden under his coat after the museum had closed. Peruggia was an Italian patriot who believed that Leonardo's painting should have been returned to an Italian museum. Peruggia may have been motivated by an associate whose copies of the original would significantly rise in value after the painting's theft. After having kept the Monna Lisa in his apartment for 2 years, Peruggia grew impatient and was caught when he attempted to sell it to Giovanni Poggi, director of the Uffizi Gallery in Florence. It was exhibited in the Uffizi Gallery for over 2 weeks and returned to the Louvre on the 4th of January 1914. Peruggia served 6 months in prison for the crime and was hailed for his patriotism in Italy. A year after the theft, Saturday Evening Post journalist Carl Decker wrote that he met an alleged accomplice named Eduardo de Volfino, who claimed to have masterminded the theft. Forger Yves Audran was to have created 6 copies of the painting to sell in the US while concealing the location of the original. Decker published this account of the theft in 1932 during World War II. It was again removed from the Louvre and taken first to the Château d'Amboise, then to the Lac Dieu Abbey and Château de Chambord, then finally to the Ingres Museum in Montauban. On the 30th of December 1956, Bolivian Hugo Ungaza Vilgas threw a rock at the Monna Lisa while it was on display at the Louvre. He did so with such force that it shattered the glass case and dislodged a speck of pigment near the left elbow. The painting was protected by glass because a few years earlier a man who claimed to be in love with the painting had cut it with a razor blade and tried to steal it. Since then, bulletproof glass has been used to shield the painting from many further attacks. Subsequently, on the 21st of April 1974, while the painting was on display at the Tokyo National Museum, a woman sprayed it with red paint as a protest against that museum's failure to provide access for disabled people. On the 2nd of August 2009, a Russian woman, distraught over being denied French citizenship, threw a ceramic teacup purchased at the Louvre. The vessel shattered against the glass enclosure. In both cases, the painting was undamaged.